Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the AWB Monthly Hangout. This one is all about Global Astronomy Month 2014, GAM 2014. It's a big month worldwide. I'm Mike Simmons, the president and founder of Astronomers Without Borders, and we have a terrific lineup today. This is going to be really interesting. We have people from around the world, and we have projects, programs that took place during GAM that people took part in most of the countries worldwide. We're going to have Daniela, who is the director, the manager of the Astro Arts program on Astronomers Without Borders. It's really been very popular and growing. Scott Cardell from the International Dark Skies Association, talking about all the things that went on during International Dark Skies Week during Global Astronomy Month and other dark skies programs that took place. Babak Tafreshi, who's the founder and director of the World at Night, TWAN. Once again, the world-famous TWAN and Dark Skies International Photo Contest, the results being carried on National Geographic and other media all around the world with incredible things. We're going to have a video showing the winners of that. Chandra Devgan, CB to us, from space. That's the name of the organization. It's a great acronym. I'll get him to remind us what that means. Joining us from New Delhi in India, and Sohail Salimi from Saratshar in Iran, southern Iran, known as the Astronomy Town. It's really an incredible place. So we've got quite a full lineup today, and all interesting guests and a lot to see and talk about. So now joining us from New Delhi, Chandra Devgan of space. He's joining us on a mobile, as we always have some sort of issues, and it happens in the U.S. as well as elsewhere. We never know what's going to happen, but CB had a problem with his computer. He's joining us on his mobile phone from New Delhi, where it is, what time is it there, CB, now? About 9:30?
Around 9:30 in the night right now.
In the night, okay. So welcome, CB. It's good to talk to you again. We had a brief chat also at the Starlight Festival in May, and we wanted to see some things from you because space is a nationwide organization in India that's doing some amazing things, and there was a tremendous amount of participation this time, and we're seeing some of these things now. I'll ask you about space itself first, but let's go through some of the things that were happening here. Sunday, which was late during the month of April, and where was this?
We had the Sunday, and we didn't actually celebrate the Sunday on the day when we were supposed to having the holidays and things like that. But if you see in the picture right now, there's a small astronomy board there, which the students of the 5th or the 6th standard class, they have put it up, especially for the GAM, where they made those kind of slogans to motivate the other students who are not into astronomy, to make them more interested in astronomy, and especially they wrote some of the slogans for our own astronaut Rakesh Sharma, and because in April he had gone to space, and surprisingly he had the birthday also in April, so they were writing to him for his birthday as well as for the anniversary of his flight into the space, which he if I can have the next slide, I'll just show you other things.
Mm-hmm. So space does a lot of work in the schools. Here another school, obviously, and I think all the pictures we have are really from the schools. What's going on with these?
Yeah, most of the images which you see there are basically from the Sunday program we have, in which they observed the sun through telescope as well as through other devices they made, like the ball projector or the pinhole projector or the projection screens which they had put up. And we had it all around Delhi and what we call the National Capital Region, and there were, I think, more than 5,000 to 6,000 students who had actually participated on a single day. So we are actually trying for some kind of a record in Delhi, where most of the students saw the sun for the first time through a telescope, and I mean that was quite a achievement for the school students here. And in one of the pictures, you would see the students are writing slogans for the astronaut and also the astrophotography contest that is there. And there were quite a few entries from the students of primary classes, second or third classes, and they were really uh, they were very
We're having a little bit of CB. We're having some audio issues. I'm not hearing
okay.
well.
And
Is it?
apart from the now, is it okay?
Yeah, yeah, better. Thank you.
Apart from the Sunday, we had the Mars observation because Mars was in opposition during the April month, and especially because it's happening in the evening, the school was not open at that time, so we had to talk to the authorities to get the schools open and show it to the school.
Well, we're having some few more issues there from New Delhi. It looks like CB might have frozen. We may lose him overall. So let's take a look at some of the other images. Clearly, this is looking at the sun as well. In one of the schools, somebody from the organization showing the sun by projection. And they organize as well some programs involving the children writing various, very structured programs here. So that's CB has just dropped out. So that's just part of doing worldwide live programs. It just happens. And let's take a look at the others, and maybe we'll get CB back to tell us a little bit more about them. But a lot of solar observations in this case. Of course, that's the easiest time to take photographs, so that's always good. CB mentioned that oh, and I see smoke in that one, so they're setting something on fire to show the dangers of
He's back.
So,
looking without
yeah,
filters.
so while also playing some sort of games with us, so in the GAM, as Mike knows, that right from that 100 hours of astronomy in 2009, we have been doing the GAM activities every year, and especially because in Delhi we had the Jantar Mantar, the observatory, the Masonic observatory, which is without any telescope, and it was made in around 300 years back. So we take the kids to that observatory and do the all sort of observation of the sun. Taking it's just like an observatory in which you have the position of the sun and the moon just by measuring the shadow and things like that. So that's a kind of a perfect example of what we say the hands-on astronomy or the hands-on science. And especially in the month of April, when we don't have the academic pressure on the kids because they had just finished their exam, and they take part in these activities in a very big way. And you have seen the reports from our side, and I mean there are lots of entries from the schools this time.
Right, Chandra. So in this case here, this is obviously something done during the daytime, and it's something that couldn't have been done at the Jantar Mantar before optics. Well, I guess they had optics then, but not telescopes. What is this demonstration?
Right now, which you are seeing on the screen.
Yes.
That is in one of the schools where we have the telescope being pointed by the student volunteer. We trained the students to show it to the other students and to the public. So it was not that it's just the educator who is showing the telescope to the students. It was students themselves who got trained in different schools, and they showed it to the other people around there.
So tell us what's happening here, because I see him holding something up, and it looks to me like I see smoke.
It's not changing, so I can only see an image of the students with the telescope there right now. So if you could just change the
Well, let me mention this one first because I see smoke there. Is this demonstrating what happens with the focused image from the sun? Is that right?
Yeah, so there actually the student is they're trying to show that don't actually look at the sun directly through a telescope because it will immediately damage your eye permanently. So the what we do here is we specially have either the matchstick or a small portion of a wood or a paper, and we put it in front of the eyepiece and show the smoke coming out and the things got burning. So we tell them, in case you put your eye there, what would happen to you? So
Hmm.
that's a way to show them not to point the telescope to the sun any time of the day or even a smallest of the telescope. So it's just a warning to them and showing it
Right.
actually that thing is burning.
Yeah. So let's see what else do you have here. The images that we have. Okay, so there's some nighttime viewing going on as
Yeah,
well, and it's not just at the
that's
school because you
nighttime
have.
view. Yeah, that's the parents over there who have lined up to see the Mars through the telescope in one of the schools over there. The students themselves are actually showing their parents through the telescope the opposition of Mars at that time, and they had quite a few, I mean, long lines over there. I mean, because even the parents they had never had the opportunity to see the Mars or any of the astronomical objects through a telescope. They must have seen it
Okay.
through, I mean, on the TV, on the net, but it was time for them to see actually see anything in the sky, and that too
Yeah.
from the light polluted skies of Delhi, and in that period when we had the GAM.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about space itself. It's a great acronym. What does it stand for? And what do you do?
Yeah, SPACE actually stands for Science Popularization Association of Communicators and Educators. So, I mean, it's a long name, and when we used to go to the schools, so I mean, the most of the interaction with the principal was only explaining the whole process. But when we say we have come from space, so immediately you get a stamp that there's something to do with astronomy. So we are doing astronomy-based activity with the school students and the masses right from officially from 2001. So it's almost 13 years for us. But otherwise, before that, we used to do that. I mean, as a volunteer for our organizations and things like that. But right from 2001, we have been doing this as a activities which is commercial also and as well as for the public outreach. And you must have seen the students when you people, you and Babak came to India in 2008 when we had that international conference of astrophotography. So we had a lot of students who were taking part in that. I mean, here
Great.
in India, what we are doing is training the students in the field of astronomy and making them aware of the astronomy rather than astrology here in India, which is most relevant here. So working on these issues and trying to get something about the astronomy and space science into those kids, so that when they become, I mean, older, they get to the science stream or the astronomy or the space sciences just to take the whole country forward.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Chandra or CB to us friends, and telling us something about this. There are tremendous a number of programs there. If you want to see more pictures from India, along with others from around the world, on our Facebook page, we have a gallery of images that were submitted from India and dozens of other countries during GAM, and you can see what was going on there as well. And we'll come back also to join Sohail Salimi from the Astronomy Town in Iran, where a lot of activities take place as well. First, we want to move on to something else that has to do with GAM and Astronomers Without Borders, and especially, of course, this is the World at Night TWAN. Babak Tafreshi is the founder and director of TWAN. This is a now really famous project in which Babak has put together a team of expert photographers in what is now called TWAN style photography. It's astrophotography of Earth and sky together, a wide angle photography, and just incredible images that you see on Astronomy Picture of the Day from NASA all the time. So welcome, Babak, joining us now from Germany, home.
Thank you, Mike. So, yeah, I'd like to add about TWAN style or astrophotography with landscape that a more common word at the moment, the term is known as nightscape photography, is getting quite popular as well. That means night landscape, but it has more general use because if you're just shooting night without attention to night sky, you're also doing nightscape photography. But when you're doing landscape astrophotography, which is our main purpose, that means you have a special attention to the night sky, to frame a constellation, to plan for a celestial phenomena, or to shoot for a picture that would be useful for astronomy education. So that's landscape astrophotography. And it's a part of nightscape photography, and that itself is a part of nature photography.
Interesting. Well, yes, it is, and there are an awful lot of uses for it, an awful lot of ways that it connects with all the different cultures, with history in every different place, and astronomy around the world. So this was, how many times now have you run this astrophotography contest, the International Earth and Sky Contest during GAM, and how has it grown? I know you're getting more and more coverage and entries all the time.
Yeah, in fact, we started this before the year of astronomy. We started in 2008 together with Astronomers Without Borders. As you remember, it was a regional contest between Brazil and India. But then in 2009, it became international. It was also during the nearly 100 hours of astronomy, so it continues in the same time of the year when the GAM continued after the year of astronomy. So it's now the 5th time in 2014, and the entries each year gradually grown nearly 20 to 30%. Now this year we had about 1,000 entries, which is impressive of its own, but more interesting definitely was the diversity of the countries that we saw as participants, especially from countries that didn't submit entries before. So we were very excited to see images from locations less exposed to astrophotographers, like the Gobi Desert in Mongolia or the South Georgia Island. So these are remote locations, and night sky is quite dark and stunning there. And it's so remarkable to see nightscape images from these places. But I'd like to add that the whole idea of the contest, besides promoting astronomy in general, is to concentrate on dark sky's importance. That's why I started this contest with Connie Walker, who is also a colleague at the International Dark Sky Association as well. He's running several programs like Globe at Night. So our idea was mainly to display images that can affect people on their awareness about the importance of dark skies and how bad the problem is light pollution is getting these days. So this contrast is the main message. I would say for any kind of photography besides beauty and art, message is very important. So especially, you know, in these days of digital photography, many people are doing photography with compact cameras. Very often you see remarkable images made with an iPhone because it's made with a message. So the message of these images is to emphasize on the problem of light pollution while showing the natural beauty of night sky. This contrast is the main message.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the winners now, and we have a video that was put together that shows some of these. I don't know if you want to comment about them as they go or after, but we can roll that tape and take a look at some of these incredible images. Those are some incredible images chosen as the winners this time, Babak. And I want to mention that we'll put a link up for the HD version of this and the other honorable mentions and so on. There's a lot more of this video. It doesn't come through as nicely to me as it does directly. Maybe I hope other viewers are able to see it okay. So, Babak, can you tell us briefly how people can see this themselves in HD and watch the rest of the video?
So if they go to twanite.org/contest, then they can see the video, the rest of the images, and all the description about the winners. While we have 10 winners each year, there are a larger number of photos that appear as honorable mention, as you mentioned also. These are also great images. I mean, the difference between the winners and honorable mention is just sometimes 1 or 2 points by a judge. So all of them are winners from my point of view, especially their remarkable images in this year honorable mention. You can see them in a link, twanite.org/2014HM, or you can find it on the contest page.
And I think
if you just Google TWAN contest, that would be the first link you would see in the search. And there are a few things I'd like to add about this year's contest. First is that our overall winner is from the category B, against the lights. The image with those rays in the sky with big deeper frame between these light rays over a pass in Dolomites of Italy. So the winner is actually a female astrophotographer, and this is rather rare because in night-scape photography we very often see that it's dominated by male photographers. We don't see much women there. If you just look at the TWAN group, you will realize this in a glance. We are just a men club. There is no female in TWAN members so far. So we are looking for a member to be female, especially from new countries. But there are not many of them. That's why we are concentrating on this on our workshops and some of our programs to promote this. And it's changing because last year we also had a winner from Canada. She was winner because of a great picture of an aurora and a meteor. This year from Italy is the overall winner, and hopefully soon this will change. I mean, night-scape photography doesn't necessarily need to be for men. It's obviously something, a hobby or profession for women too.
Yes, I've seen that even as criticisms. Why is it all men? But I know that the group has been trying to find women to join as well, and it's very diverse as far as the photographers around the world in different cultures. But that's something that's been missing. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, that's true. And second is that some of the images, I mean, besides many positive parts of this contest, there is also a negative issue that some of the images were taken beautifully but processed in a very bad way. So there were missed opportunities because there were great pictures, frame, technique, everything, but then processed so badly and strongly that our judge just gave negative votes to them. And this is becoming a major issue in night-scape photography because people have no idea what is the natural color of the night sky, what is the natural color of the Milky Way. It's not obvious like in daytime pictures. If you turn a mountain with the snow covers to purple or green, so anyone can see this problem in a glance. But if you change the Milky Way color with color balance to any saturation you like, nobody will realize.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are many composite and photo montage images submitted to the contest. Of course, we are experienced enough in this case that quickly remove them from the contest, but it's just sad. I would say the main issue, the reason, is that people who are coming to this field of photography are less informed about stargazing principles, about astronomy. So, and that's of course very obvious because with the change of the DSLR cameras, opportunities to take low light imaging is becoming broader, easier, but there are people coming from various fields of photography to night sky imaging without knowing the night sky itself. And that can be problematic in any field of photography. If you're a wildlife photographer, you don't know the animals, then you have a problem. You get 1 meter close to a lion and you're eaten. So
yeah. Well, we don't have that danger here, but it does seem to be quite often the temptation to process these to make them look more spectacular. While they make good art, they do not necessarily represent what the sky looks like really to people, and it is a problem because it misinforms people as well as being just not natural. So I'm glad that TWAN, The World at Night, is setting an example of how things should be done. So Babak, thanks for joining us and talking about this. We're going to post the link on the Google Plus Hangout afterwards to make sure that people can go find out about this and where they can see the video, which is on Vimeo. It's spectacular. And you mentioned that it's hard to tell the honorable mentions from the winners, and really, you know, that's what I'm struck by. There were dozens of honorable mentions, and any one of them could have been a winner. It's a very difficult job. I've been a judge in this before, and there weren't so many great pictures. So it's not an enviable, it's a difficult task. So thanks for doing this. And
yeah, I'd like to add that if someone viewing this Google Hangout who had an image in the honorable mention, Please be patient because not all of them are on our website. All of them are on our video, but they will gradually appear on TWAN website during the next few days.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much, Babak, and good evening to you in Germany, where you're I think 10 hours ahead of me here, or 8 hours, something like that. That's I get lost in time, but anyway, thanks for joining us wherever it is. Have a good evening. And talking about dark skies, I do want to move on now to Scott Cardell. Scott is with the International Dark Sky Association, and they are not only one of the sponsors of this contest, but they ran programs during GAM as well about the issue of dark skies, light pollution awareness. And so these are all common issues for Scott. But there is even more, the International Dark Sky Week and more. So Scott, welcome.
Hi, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah, so you're joining us from nearby. We're almost neighbors here. You're in Tucson, Arizona. I'm in Southern California.
Right, where it will be rather warm today.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say following Babak is a tough act because that's just some really beautiful, remarkable work he was sharing with us.
Yeah. So tell us what sort of programs were done during Global Astronomy Month, why you're taking advantage of that platform, and there's some new things this year as well.
Yeah, so it's really a pleasure to be part of Global Astronomy Month, and IDA has been involved, I think, probably since the first time it was launched in 2009 through our International Dark Sky Week. And we haven't really in the past done a whole lot of really special stuff for Dark Sky Week, but this year we decided to have a theme to Dark Sky Week, and it turned out to be more interesting and generated a lot more attention. And so I've got a few pictures to share here. The first two are actually ones that people have probably seen before, but this is a really traditional kind of view that a lot of people have in their cityscapes, where there's this view that's actually outside of Toronto, looking towards the night sky. And if we can go to the next shot, this is what everybody's missing. So this is the same city. These are, I think, 2 nights apart. There was blackout during the picture that's on there now. And you know, the goal of all of the International Dark Sky Association and especially International Dark Sky Week is to remind people of what they're missing and try to convince them to do something to make the whole problem a little bit.
Yeah, and these are real pictures here. I want to point out there are some photographers who have put, as a montage, put dark skies above New York City and so on to show what people are missing. They're not trying to fool anyone, just say this is what you would see if it weren't for this. But this is the real thing here. Yeah,
these 2 pictures were taken by a man named Todd Carlson, like I said, just outside of Toronto, and it is the real thing. It was during a blackout, and then of course this shot here, which is the normal view. And you know, for those of us that are interested in astronomy, we get what we're missing. We know what it is that we're trying to recapture. But when we're trying to spread that message to everybody else, to get them to make some improvements, you know, maybe they haven't seen the Milky Way. Maybe they spend too much time in a big urban center and don't know what they're missing. It'd be kind of like never having seen a sunset, if you ask me. But and that would be difficult to explain to somebody what it is that they were missing out on. Well, I think seeing the Milky Way is really the same way. So we decided to make Dark Sky Week have different themes, and the themes were really related to, first, just like what is light pollution, but also related to central issues that other people are concerned about, and that's health and safety and glare and energy and those kinds of things. And so we go on to the next picture. You know, one of the big things that people are really concerned about is security lighting and safety outside, and we try to let people know at IDA that there are right ways and wrong ways to do lighting, and bright, blinding light like this with a lot of glare doesn't really help you to see much. And if you look at this shot and compare it to the very next picture, I think you'll see a dramatic difference. So when you properly shield or block or remove that glare, there's the ability to see more.
Yeah.
So this is just a matter of the light there may help you see what you want to see, but if it's going into your eyes, you're not going to be able to see it at all.
Exactly. And most people don't think about that in any way, shape, or form when they're adding so-called security light outdoors. And blinding light with deep shadows and harshly lit areas really reduces visibility, perhaps makes people less safe. And one of the reasons that people are always saying is that they need more lighting outside is because they're worried about safety and they're worried about crime and things like that. But I think that poor lighting actually makes the situation worse, and this is just an example.
This is the idea here is not necessarily to reduce outdoor lighting at night, but to do it properly so it's not wasted and it doesn't do more harm than good.
Right, and when people hear our name, the Dark Sky Association, they sometimes fixate on that word dark, and they think, oh, we want to plunge people into darkness, we want to turn out all the lights and make it unsafe. And it's not that. It's making sure that when and where you need light, that you do the right job and you put the light where it's needed, but only in the amount that's needed too.
And at the same time, that keeps the light from going not only into your eyes but into the sky. Put it down on the ground, the places that you want. Everybody wins on that. There really isn't any downside to that.
Right. It's just really like in a lot of areas, you're fighting against experience and ignorance, and people don't really have the wherewithal to know how to do things properly. And this is the easy way to do lighting is really the bad way.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was going to say to tell us about some of the other topics that were covered during International Dark Sky Week as well.
Sure. Well, I was going to say, there are a lot of misconceptions related to lighting and crime, and just the very next picture is a good example of that. There we go. So maybe this isn't a good example, but there people that say that light prevents crime, and here we have a street light with a burned out car underneath it and a lot of graffiti on the wall behind it. Probably not a good example of light deterring crime. We know that light makes people feel safer, but there's not really a lot of evidence that it actually does make people safer. And so when we highlighted those areas of security and safety and crime in International Dark Sky Week and shared information about that, it turned out that this topic was the most popular topic, where more people were interacting with what we had on social media and coming to our website to look for this stuff. So that was kind of interesting.
Because people do want to feel safe. I mean, that's a very, really a primal concern, and light can be an important part of that, but it has to be done the right way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Doing it in the right way is the total key for that. And excessive light just doesn't help at all. Right. And we also think about things that, for instance, if I lived right outside that area and that was a street light shining in my bedroom window and it was keeping me up at night, there are things that I could do just simply closing my drapes or blinds that would prevent that light from coming in. No, go ahead. That was a great transition to the next shot. But I wanted to point out that nature can't do that, right? There is no curtain for the natural world to pull back and not be affected by outdoor lighting. And so most of us, I'm sure, have seen cases with insects being drawn to light at night. And here's an example from actually a supermarket near where I live. And this was, I think, a 2-second exposure. So these are moths that have been drawn to the light. This disrupts the ecosystem. So some of them are drawn in and actually killed by the heat of that light source. This particular place, there are night-feeding birds, nighthawks, that come and feed on those. And so just by adding that extra source of light, it has changed the natural behavior of the populations in the ecosystem in that area. And we see this in lots of places where light affects birds and it affects sea turtles and basically any nocturnal animal that's used to having, what nature has given it for all of the history of the Earth, a bright day and a dark night gets disrupted by our introduction of light at night. So we need to be careful to where and how we use it to make sure it's not too bright and it's fully shielded, or maybe even that it's of a particular spectrum, because the color of light makes a difference.
Yeah, interesting. So there were a couple of the you had a different topic every day of the week, I think.
Yeah, we did. We had health and environment and energy and crime and heritage and looking just to take action and get out and enjoy things. We wanted to make sure that we ended on that positive note, and taking action was doing things like going out and seeing some stars, go to a star party, learn to shield a light yourself, see if you can do something to make a difference. And so there were some ways.
I mean, you mentioned that the one on crime got some of the biggest response. Do you have some measures of what these responses were, or what was the most important? Here's another topic that Liam is bringing up here as well.
Well, it was also crime and health and energy waste were big ones too. And what we did find was that traffic to the IDA website, traffic to social media actually went really off the scale for us, which was super to see.
Sure.
You know, the picture there, this is an inside light, and one of the things that we were reminding people is that light at night affects us even when it's indoors too, and the color of light matters. So these are two compact fluorescent bulbs, and you notice they're really remarkably different color. It's not the glass of the fixture. It's two different bulbs. The one on the left is very, very blue. The one on the right is a much more warmer, what we say a warmer color, much like you see in a traditional incandescent light. And one of the things that people have learned in the last 10 or 15 years was that the human eye contains photoreceptors that don't help us see, but tell us when it's day and when it's night. Basically, they're cued to finding the blue sky of the daytime to reset your biological clock. And blue light at night, in the form of bulbs that are really rich in blue, or maybe us hanging around our computer monitors or with smartphones too much, can help to disrupt your circadian rhythm and give you problems sleeping, or maybe lead to long-term problems, health problems as well.
Scott, tell us how people can learn more about these things now, even though the International Dark Sky Week during GAM is over. Where can they learn more about it, and what can we look forward to next year?
So all of that stuff is still on the IDA website. If you go to darksky.org/IDSW for International Dark Sky Week, you'll find links to all of the topics that we had for Dark Sky Week this year, and also the dates for Dark Sky Week next year, which again will be during Global Astronomy Month in April, and it's going to start on April 13th. And we run that during the time when there's when there's no moon in the evening sky, so it's easy for people to get out and enjoy the stars. We run that also when people are hopefully out doing measurements of their own for globe at night and other ways, and just get involved and enjoy the night sky.
It sounds like doing this during Global Astronomy Month is sort of giving it a boost when we've got a lot of people paying attention there. I'm very glad to see the big response this year.
Yeah, and we're happy to be involved in that and promoting people to get out and enjoy the night sky and Global Astronomy Month and all the many ways that it takes place, and all the ways that it helps raise awareness to the problems of light pollution.
Terrific. Well, thanks very much, Scott. I wish we had more time for all of our guests here. There's so much more to talk about, but there's more information on the International Dark Sky Association's website, and the topics are still up on the Global Astronomy Month website as well at astronomerswithoutborders.org or GAM, G-A-M, -awb.org. And we'll be preparing for next year soon, but and adding more of the results onto that webpage before long. So thank you, Scott, and
Thanks,
we should talk soon and catch up on more for the rest of this year and next year as well. We're neighbors after all.
That's right.
So one of the other very popular programs that's taken part in Astronomers Without Borders is Astro Arts. This has become a very popular program, and in much bigger ways than I ever imagined. This is all thanks to Daniela, an Italian artist, now living in the Netherlands, who joins us from the Netherlands, where it's again back to evening. Daniela, welcome.
Hi, Mike. Thanks.
So there was a lot of new stuff this year in GAM for AstroArts. We had a lot of hangouts, a whole lot of things going on. I couldn't even follow it all. So this was really active and very popular. Are you going to tell us about a few of the new things that were happening?
Yes, well, it's always a very difficult task to choose the events for AstroArts because we receive a lot of offers from artists to present their work on AstroArts. So it's becoming quite difficult to keep the schedule tight and in a way that we are not overwhelmed by AstroArts events. And I'm actually looking forward to work on the next year AstroArts when we might even think of the International Year of Light. And so setting a topic for GAM AstroArts could be the next step forward. So we have a more sort of a more selection of works that are responding to a certain topic, for example. So this is very much a work in progress. But, well, this year, as you mentioned, we had several hangouts, so panel discussions with artists and scientists, which is very much at the forefront of both astronomy and art, I think. So one of the strengths, of course, of these art panels is that people can join from all around the world, and we can bring both communities together in a way which hasn't been done before. So another strength of the program is that all the events are online, of course, and for example, these pictures is from the Astro Concert, Aurora Borealis by Stefano Giovanardi and Angelina Yerkova, who presented a very interesting program on the aurora, and they created this event especially for the web streaming. So they built the performance around the possibility of presenting it on a Ustream. They also had a live audience in the theater. And this is something that I would really like to develop in collaboration with the rest of the AstroArts team. So having both a physical presentation and an online presentation. I think the program will benefit from that.
I think that's great. You know, one of the things is that Astronomers Without Borders doesn't really do local events. We do things that everybody can participate in, and that either means star parties that are held locally but are connected through our programs, or sometimes online. This is a case of a performance that would have been seen by a small number of people, and of course it's better to be there live in the audience, but we can bring it to everybody worldwide online as well at the same time in a live performance. So that, I think that's a terrific advance.
Yes, absolutely. There is so much potential in the live streaming, and I think, in my opinion, as an artist, the online possibilities have just been they can be developed greatly, and I think astronomy and art are a wonderful combination of both. And if we move forward to the next pictures, I can also talk a little bit more about the other projects. This is also from the Astro Concert. Angelina Yerkova is a contemporary composer, and she created a score appositely for for Global Astronomy Month. And the next image again is showing Stefano Giovanardi from another view. He's a scientist, but also is a theater director. So he creates these interesting works where science is communicated to the public through text and engaging visual content as well. In the next image, I think we have some stills from another project, which I think is becoming very popular thanks to GAM. So, in a way, presenting works through Global Astronomy Month and the AWB platform is very good for artists to get their work out of the gallery contest and to really present the work in a much more, well, global way, let's say. For example, my project Optics, which is a live performance during which we send images to the moon and back, is now something which belongs to the collective somehow knowledge. So it's not only it's not only known by people who go to art events, but also by people who are living all over the place and who wouldn't necessarily go to see the event if it was hosted at the gallery. So I'm very pleased about this kind of exposure. And here we have some postcards, a selection of postcards that were submitted by people from all around the place and which were bounced in real time during the live performance. So this is the result of the long journey. And after the event,
excuse me, Daniela, I just want to say, people, don't worry about the image not being clear to you. It's not your computer. These images were coded, sent to the moon, reflected off the surface of the moon, and received back on Earth. And this is just what happens to them as they scatter on the moon a bit.
Exactly, yes. So the distortion is caused mostly by the fact that the radio signals have been traveling for approximately 800,000 kilometers. So, of course, the resolution gets much less when the images return. But I think the interesting part of the project is that at the end, I print the images and I mail them back to the original sender. So we create this kind of networks and connection. People also have a long-lasting memory of their virtual journey to the moon. There is another very, in my opinion, interesting project which we presented during GAM, which it's the Crater Live radio station, which is by an artist and engineer called Marty Quinn, living, from the US. And Marty collaborated with NASA for creating this radio station, which has become very popular with schools. So art can be not only an aesthetic tool, but also educational, like this project, which is highly also scientific. And the sound that you can hear if you go on the website is the live data of cosmic rays hitting the moon's surface. So we presented this through a live Google Hangout. And of course, people can also interact with the artist by asking questions. Yeah, I think we also need to work on expanding the possibility of interaction with the public. So there is a lot of room for improvement, I think, in AstroArt, and I think working together with the AWB community is really going to make.
Well, that's the case always when you do something that hasn't been done before. If it was simple or you had a path to follow, it would be easy to do it.
Yes, but also I think getting feedback from astronomers, scientists.
Now we're hearing the actual music created by the Crater Live sonification project. And so the idea of this is the sonification is to take images, colors, different things, and create sound that people can hear if they are sight disabled, and get some idea of the character, at least, of the picture.
Yes, Marty Quinn works a lot with in projects that are aimed at visually impaired. Or, so it works really with a lot of different kind of communities and educators. So it's a very broad approach, and I think this really fits the AWB motto in a way.
Absolutely, so, yes. It's there are all types of borders. We're not just talking about geographic borders or crossing borders here that are put up, unfortunately, for people who are disabled in one way or another and aren't able to enjoy the sky in the ways that we do. So, yeah, very good.
I think we have also one last image of our Cosmic Concert, which of course is been has been presented for several years now, and is by Giovanni Renzo, a composer from Sicily. And that is always a big hit, and I think now he has a huge number of followers. So, okay.
We have one last picture that Daniela didn't plan on, but we'll get to that. So here's Giovanni Renzo and the Cosmic Concert. This is a staple of Global Astronomy Month, and it's a very popular event, a live performance of a new composition accompanied by astrophotos and videos. Very popular every year.
Exactly. So ideally, all global projects, all arts projects that we are presenting in GAM should reach the same kind of exposure. So I think this is one of the things we should work towards, making them a very iconic artworks, which remain in people's mind and really make an impact on the arts as well as in the astronomy field, I think.
Yes, it's important to cross those borders, try and dissolve those borders between different disciplines and different forms of art, such as TWAN-style images and deep sky astrophotography with music. They fit together so well. I've been an amateur astronomer for over 40 years, and when you go to star parties, quite often music is a part of what people like to have along with the stars, their own kind of music, which is not always everybody else's pick, but you know, they go together, so I think that's important.
Absolutely.
And we do have one more picture here, one of your colleagues, Daniela. I think they had that one queued up. I'm not sure if you meant for this to be as a part of it, but I love it, so let's tell us about your friend here.
Yes, she's my dog, Ciotola. She slipped into the set of images that we were using for the Hangout, so she says hello, and she would probably make a good guest for a future Hangout of ours.
That would be great, and she certainly has the ear for the music, we can say.
Definitely.
So, okay, thank you very much, Daniela. I also want to talk about one other aspect of astro arts that's run pretty much separately, but it's astropoetry, and this is something that was started by one of our AWB people, Bob Eklund. Bob has been involved in Astronomers Without Borders almost since the beginning. He's a writer, and he does poetry himself and has self-published a book of his own poetry, and he wanted to start an astropoetry blog, and this is a great thing about participation in Astronomers Without Borders. You know, I said, okay, do a blog. It's not going to do any harm. You know, well, little did I know that there is a tremendous interest in poetry about space, about the sky, around the world. And I'm familiar with some of those things from Robert Frost and so on. They're some of my favorites. And so this has been very popular. And the Astropoetry Contest was started a few years ago with 3 categories. And I'm going to describe it briefly because unfortunately Bob isn't able to join us this morning here in California. But this has become tremendously popular. 2 years ago we had about 75 poems that were entered. Last year we had 90 poems. This year 225 from 19 different countries around the world. There are 3 categories: adults, young adults, and children. And the largest category was young adults. We had a big number, 65 from Indonesia, which I think is largely from one school. The schools get very interested in the young adults and the children's categories. And so we had participation from Indonesia, the US, India, UK, Australia, Canada, from all over, China, France, Italy, Pakistan, Philippines, Portugal, one from Nepal. So it is a very popular program and something that I think CBN Space has been promoting in the schools in India as well. But it isn't just schools. The adult category was 61. And one of the hotbed countries, and I don't see it as far as the entries in the contest, but the Romania is a very, very big country on astropoetry. So let's move on then. I just wanted to mention that, and thank you, Liam. We don't have any images to show for the astropoetry. I just wanted to report on some results. We don't have the winners now, but we're expecting to have the winners of the astropoetry contest to announce sometime in the next 2 weeks. So I know we get inquiries from people wanting to know what happened there, and it's a big event when one of the schools wins something like this. So that's another component that's very important. So thank you, Daniela, for showing those parts, and thanks to Bob for running that. We have one last person. It's very important to me, Sohail Salimi. It comes to us from southern Iran, in fact, in the town of Sadat Shah. And it's important to me because this is really, to me, where Astronomers Without Borders began when I went to Iran for the first time and started connecting people from the U.S. and Iran. And I learned so much and wanted to share so much about Iran and the country and the people and how different it is than from what we hear about on the news. And I've been back many times, most recently about a year and a half ago. So Sohail joins us from Sadat Shah, which is a town in southern Iran that's known as the Astronomy Town. And there's some amazing things that happen there in a town of, well, last I heard it was 10,000, maybe the population has grown, in this small rural town where astronomy is a very, very big thing. So Sohail, welcome, and thanks for joining us here in your evening as well.
Hello, Mike and AW family. Thank you so much. Truly, it's my great pleasure to be here and be a part of AWB Astronomers Without Borders to promote peace and astronomy under the motto of AWB People One Sky, and look at the Earth as the same as astronauts in ISS. I mean, without borders.
That's exactly right. You know, and in fact, there are some things I'm involved in with astronauts, and I point out that for those of us who aren't able to go into space, astronomy is the way we realize that this is one place that we're all looking at the sky together. When I'm in Tehran, staying with friends there, the sky is exactly the same as it is at my home here in Southern California. We're at the same latitude, so we're really doing the same thing. And now I know that GAM has been very popular in Sadat Shah, and Iran is one of the most active countries in the world as far as astronomy goes. There's a tremendous amount of outreach, unlike in the United States, but like most other developing countries, it's almost entirely young people who take part, not the older people like me, who've been in it for a long time. And as the picture here shows, this is largely women. Now, this is an unusual kind of thing that was done in Sadat Shah as far as using the sun as part of Sunday and Global Astronomy Month, but a new take on how to learn about the sun, making a solar cooker. And we see here, this is all women.
Yeah. First, foremost, I should say that this photo has been taken in a school in FASA, where I'm studying civil engineering. But yes, we have this workshop on Sunday to promote solar thermal cooking for girls. And they were so excited to know more about the sun, our star. And yes, and about Sadat Shah, as you said, this is astronomy town. This is famous to astronomy town, as the habitants have demonstrated a great passion for sky gazing. And firstly, I would like to say maybe it's very amazing for many people. Wedding ceremonies here and with some parties, and everyone would like to enjoy the sky, and all of these are results of my dearest admirable efforts of my dearest teacher, Mr. Asghar Kabiri, founder and president of Astronomical Society of Pasaga the Sky, and who accomplished Las Cambras Outreach Award in 2006. Oh, well, about this photo.
And we'll have some
Yeah.
pictures of Mr. Kabiri and others here in a moment. These are a little mixed up. We'll go through them as we can. Here's another unusual one during Global Astronomy Month, but something that's wonderful to see. Iran has one of the world's largest refugee populations, which is families from Afghanistan, which Iran borders on the northeast, but these are Afghan children you're working with farther down south.
Yes, in this photo, I try to share the sky with Afghan children here, and also focus on the motto of Astronomers Without Borders, one people, one sky, and you really enjoy that astronomy can bring all of us together, Iranian and Afghan children here. And personally, it was a great moment for me, and I never had an experience of this, to be between the Afghan children and actually building a great relationship with them as the same as a family.
It's fantastic. This is really wonderful work. These children far from their home. There are similarities between the Afghan and Iranian cultures. Of course, they're all Persian cultures, and the language is similar. So that helps, but it's not the same when you're displaced. So that's wonderful, Sohail. Thanks for doing that and showing it to us. So art is a part of astronomy as well, in the form of photography and many other things.
Yes, as you know, we have participated in a wide range of programs in Global Astronomy Month, such as holding exhibitions, and putting telescope in different places of South Asia, such as streets, schools, everywhere, hospital, police stations, and even in mosques. And in this photo, you can see an exhibition, an astronomical exhibition in different schools, and it was a very great opportunity to know more about the heaven above.
Terrific. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think probably the next one here, if I have the order right, yes, this one is really very special, and this is from a couple of years ago, but I still have to show it because it's special to me. I've been to this place, which is Pasargad, the first capital of the Persian Empire, built some 2,500 years ago. And the structure on the right side is the tomb of Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire. And we've had some even astronomy events there where we observed the Venus transit in 2004. But this is not far from Sarat Shah. It's very close. And also there's something that's relevant to Global Astronomy Month, but also a coincidence with the Persian calendar on the left side too. So tell us about this, Sohail.
Yes, Mike. Well, in 2012, I tried to combine astronomy and cultural events both together. And you can see, have seen over there at the left of the page, we have New Year, we have Nowruz here as our New Year, and I try to combine astronomy and Persian culture in Pasargad World Heritage Site, and we had an opening ceremony for Global Astronomy Month that day. Yes. Mm-hmm. And as you see, we have many students there who was very enthusiastic to astronomy.
Yeah. So I wish we had more time for all of these things. There's so much to talk about, a month's worth, and there's just, we could fill hours with images from India and the TWAN contest and AstroArts and so on. I do want to go through some of the other photos there just to talk about very briefly. Let's make a quick comment because I like the photos, and let's go ahead, caught Liam, our producer, off guard there, didn't I? He tries to follow what I'm doing, and I throw him something once in a while, and here is a star party, and it's just like any other star party would be anywhere else. The people look a little bit different to us from here in the West. And Mr. Kabiri, the teacher who really started all of this, below in the left-hand lower picture on the right side of the telescope.
Yes. As you said, here is different.
Yeah, and the next one also shows some different kinds of activities that I wanted to bring in. So this is something that's common there that I've learned at lots of festivals and things, is face painting. Mr. Kabiri showing his artistic ability on a young person's face. And below there, so tell us what's going on with these children running.
Mike, I should say that we had held many competitions for students, as the same as painting and even astro arts and astro poetry arts in Persian, also, of course, for people who live in South Asia and students. And as you see in this photo, you can see children are so enthusiastic that Mr. Kabiri painting celestial bodies on their face. Yes, I think it's very amazing. And we presented some astronomical gifts, such as some posters, some photos of deep sky, and to students, and they were more and more enthusiastic to astronomy.
Yeah. So, and the next photo shows something that I really wanted to show, because this is something really remarkable about Sadat Shar, the astronomy town where astronomy is so important. There are some nice images of people observing the sky at a star party during Global Astronomy Month on the right-hand side. But this series of images on the left side, I know that number one is overlooking the city from a nearby hill. But what's going on with the rest of it? So.
Yes, as you know, light pollution and sky glow around urban areas are the most important issues of astronomers and observatories. And but in South Asia, we can see the unnecessary lights of streets in star parties since many years ago. And I was so excited and was after your great awesome presentation about light pollution in Qashim Star Festival on December 2012. And when I came back to South Asia, I will try to raise public awareness about light pollution and its impacts on human health, wildlife, and environment, energy, and safety, and everything. Yes. And in this photo, you can see different levels of switching off the lights in one of our parties. And at the right side, I'm encouraging other people to join citizen scientist project, Global at Night, which people can measure their dark sky brightness. I think in 2015, International Year of Light will have a great opportunity to fight with light pollution. Furthermore, according to a technical paper prepared by Mr. Carl Shefley at the Civil Engineering Department of the University of British Columbia, 35% to 50% of all light pollution is caused by roadway. It now becomes the responsibility of civil engineers and urban planners and architects to face the problem and find solutions.
Yeah, so this what this really demonstrates here is not only about light pollution, this 1, 2, 3 series here, but this is not unusual in your town. I understand the municipality, when you have an important star party, will actually switch off those street lights, even turn off the electricity to the town or parts of the town in order to darken the sky so you'll have a better star party.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so this is not something I've heard of anywhere else in the world, and makes Sadat Shar the envy of amateur astronomers in towns and big cities everywhere. And
Yes, it is.
yeah, I think we could finish up perhaps with the next couple of pictures that are just overall shots of the different things going on during Global Astronomy Month in your area. It almost looks like a protest going on, lower left there with the signs up. And finally, some images from different places. We don't have time to talk about your little observatory that's actually being built here as well. There it is in use, and people looking up to the sky. Some terrific images. I'm really glad to be able to share these with everyone. So, Helen, I thank you for joining us for this special AWB monthly hangout, and I hope to see you in Iran again before too long. I look forward to being back and coming to Silent Shore again.
Oh, thank you so much. It was my great pleasure to be here, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Sohail. Good evening.
Good evening.
So there's one person who's missing from here, and that is our coordinator for GAM 2014, Christy McMonigal. She's in Sydney, Australia, where it is now a little bit after 3 a.m., and she decided that this was not a convenient time for her to be on here. She wouldn't be at her best. I don't blame her, but she is also very hard at work, working on the wrap-up report for Global Astronomy Month. And we'll show you a picture of her there. So here's a portrait of Christy, hard at work, nose to the grindstone, working on the final report, which we have a draft of and hope to release before long. It's a difficult job. She did it very, very well, but you see the conditions she has to work under here. Can be very stressful sometimes. So my thanks to Christy McMonigal in Sydney, now getting her beauty sleep for all the work that she did as well. And I hope that we'll hear from Christy maybe in a different time of day in the future. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. We run a little bit over an hour. I wish we could take a couple of hours, but thanks to everyone who has joined us here, Daniela DePaula, Scott Cardell, Babak Tafreshi, Chander Devgan from India, and Sohail Salimi from Iran. And for all of you who watched or who are watching in the archives now, let us know what you think. Feel free to add comments about the program if you're watching it on YouTube in the archives. We'd love to have your feedback. If you write to info@astronomerswithoutborders.org, we will hear from you. I'll see those as well. If you want to write to me, just please do that. This is a grassroots movement, Astronomers Without Borders, and as big as this might become worldwide, it's all about the people and the people who do it, who are the ones that make the difference. Without everybody participating, thousands of people worldwide, there wouldn't be any program. So we just try to provide a platform, but we're doing what everybody wants to see. So thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. Let us hear from you. Keep those cards and letters coming in. As they used to say in the old days before email, email now is preferable. And thanks for joining us and for this month's Hangout. And until next month, thank you and goodbye.